Hey everyone, hope you all are well. We are starting off this look by priming the eye area because that is one of the most important steps in creating this look. You don't want to do a beautiful shadow look and then it not last for the duration of the day. So priming the eyes will make sure the shadows apply nice and smoothly, blend nice and easily, and as I mentioned, last all day long as well. And the Photo Focus primer is one of my all-time favorites and it's budget friendly too. So today I'm going to talk you through how to create a smoky eye using 4 shadows. All you need for today's look is a shade that's similar to your skin tone, a light brown, a dark brown and a black. Any brand, any palette, whatever you have at home. So the reason I've picked these 4 shades is because it's going to help create a nice gradient. We want the shadows to be at the darkest at our lash line and then fade out to nothing the closer to the brow bone that we get. Now I don't apply my shadows in that order. I apply from the brow bone down, so from light to dark. And this way I find it stops the shadows from getting muddy and blending into one. And also if you work your colours from light to dark, you can quickly do a one brush makeup look too. So I'm just using the light skin tone shade with a Sedona Lace EB09 universal blending brush just underneath the brow area to add a nice subtle lightness to this area. Next then, I'm taking that light brown at the top of the palette labelled Transition, very appropriately named because we're using this as our transition shade. So with that same brush, I'm just placing this shadow in the space above the eye, that's where my crease is, and I'm adding this shadow to this area and it's just going to help give some shape and structure. It also gives the shadows to come something to fade and transition into. So as I mentioned, we'll be adding a black, that's going to transition into a dark brown, which transitions into this light brown, and then that fades out into the skin tone shade. So more or less it fades out to nothing the closer to the brow bone that we get. So not only do I apply my shadows from light to dark, I also do so in layers as well. It's easier to go in with a light hand and build up the intensity than it is to go in with a heavy layer of shadow on your brush and blend that out. It does take too long and it can become very messy very quickly. So I like to take my time building up the shadows, and this way I don't have an issue with fallout from my brush either. The shadow goes on and stays where I want it to. So I am still using that same blending brush now. This time I'm dipping into the dark brown in that palette and I'm going to focus this mainly on the eyelid itself. So don't think your blending brush is just solely for blending. You can definitely apply with it too. I use the side of the brush to pick up some shadow and then I tap it down onto the lid. You can use the tip of the brush either and apply and blend as you go. If you do use the brush on its side, you'll get a nice even pigmented layer of shadow. And as you can see, because these 2 shades are from the one colour family, one is just darker than the other, they do fade together with very little effort. I haven't really focused on blending too much in the crease up until this point. And this is where picking shadows that naturally complement each other make a big difference to how your makeup's going to appear. So once again, I'm adding another light layer of that brown, just making sure that I have a nice even coverage across the eyelid, and then naturally making sure there's no harsh edges. I'm using circular motions and just fading that colour into the crease again. Once I'm happy then with how that looks, I'm taking a black eyeshadow, and as a general guide, the darker the colour, the less of it you use. So I'm literally using this black just to add a bit of depth, a bit of smokiness. I don't want to cover up all the work that I've done up until this point. I'm using a blank canvas flat C-shaped brush. I'm turning it so the tip of the bristles are pointing down towards my lash bed, and I'm pressing the brush down and then flicking upwards. And if you find that a bit awkward, you can rotate the brush around and use that same flicking motion. The most important tip is you want the colour to be the darkest at that lash line and then fade upwards from there, and that's why I'm using these nice little feathering motions from outer to inner corner all the way across the lash line. I'm happy with how the lid looks, so I'm moving down to the lower lash line, and basically I just want to connect everything up and make everything look nice and seamless, and I want it all to fade together, so I'm just repeating the exact same steps below. I'm starting by taking that transition shade, running this all the way down along the lower lash line, connecting it up on that outer edge, and then I'm using the dark brown from that Wet n Wild palette as well. I'm wriggling this starting from the outer edge of the eye, bringing it all the way across into the tear duct, just running this back and forward, and it's completely up to yourself how far you want to blend this down. If you want it to be really smoky, you can really feather and fade that shadow out, or you can keep it a little bit tighter to the lash line if you don't want it to look so dramatic. Then I'm taking that flat C-shaped brush again and a little touch more of that black eyeshadow, and I'm wriggling this along the outer third of the eye right into those lashes. Now, another tip as well, if you have blended your shadow down a bit too far, take a skin tone shadow. I'm using that same one that we started off with, and I'm just blending this around the entire makeup look. So, as I said, if you've blended your shadow down too far, it can bring it back up, or if you've got a harsh edge that you want to soften without adding any more colour, this will work a treat as well. So I'm just adding this around the perimeter of the look. Then I'm using the Urban Decay Zero eyeliner. It's the Glide on Eye pencil, and I'm applying this inside the waterline. I'm then going to close my eye around the pencil just to coat the top and bottom waterline at the same time. This will really help to thicken and darken the upper lashes as well. Finally then, I've added some eye lower lashes just to pull the look together, and now I am blending my own lashes in with the false ones using the Air Volume mascara from L'Oreal, coating the top and bottom lashes, and then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you picked up a couple of tips and tricks. If you did, do let me know, and I'll catch you in a video really soon.
Took your eyes off of me. I know you're right, because love's not